Hello, my Ravens. I've been busy marketing my third book, The Bone Spirit, available on Amazon, Nook, and Kindle. $2.99 on Nook and Kindle. If you want to check that out, feel free. But today we're here to talk about my favorite video games. When I started, I was going to come up with maybe like 5 video games. But when I started going down memory lane, I had a long list, and I came up with 7, and it actually could have been more, but I think 7 is a good number. So we're going to start out, these are in no particular order, except for maybe the last 2 I say, which are probably my favorite, tied for my favorite game of all time. Starting out, we have Resident Evil. Resident Evil 4 is the most popular of the series, because it got the buku loads of awards and all the kudos and Game of the Year awards, and I believe it was about Leon Kennedy trying to save the president's daughter or something like that. It's been ages since I played it. But my favorite has always been Resident Evil 2. This is when we first were introduced to Leon Kennedy. It took place right after Resident Evil 1, and you had Leon, who was a rookie cop, and all the bad luck in the world. The zombie outbreak happens on his first day on the job. This is where he first met Claire, Ada Wong, and you had the introduction of Sherry Birkin, who would be a mainstay in the later series of the games, and you just had all these great characters that were introduced, and it had a great antagonist. I loved everything about the G-Virus, and you actually had to play the darn game twice before you actually got the true ending. You had to do it from Leon's point of view and Claire's point of view. So that was always my favorite of the series. Up next, we'll call this game, the whole series, a game. It is Samurai Warriors. You've heard me talk about this game in other videos. I love it because a lot of it's true. It's based on true events. You get to learn about all the great Japanese samurais, all the great battles, and you learn so much from it. And it's very educational. I believe that if you put astrophysics in video game form, I could pick up on it. It's so many interesting characters. You get countless levels with like sometimes 20 different samurais. They've got great sequels. They've even had spin-offs with the Dynasty Warrior series for the Warriors of Orochi games, which I've also played. But it's just, ever since I was introduced to the series, I have loved it and fell in love with it, and I can't wait to get a PlayStation 3 so I can play Samurai Warriors 4. Up next, this is a game that I believe may have been custom made for me. Of all things, it is about a writer in a horror game trying to find pages to a book he doesn't remember writing, and this is Alan Wake. I love this game. I played it to death. I beat it on easy mode, normal mode, and hard mode. And one of my proudest video game accomplishments came in this game. It was the accomplishment of getting every single manuscript page. And I've never worked so hard on a achievement in my life, because I was even dreaming about hunting the pages in my sleep. But then I finally got the accomplishment, and like I said, I'm a horror writer. This is about I guess what you would say, a horror writer going through this whole horror scenario, and I really hope they'll do it. I don't think they're supposed to do a sequel, but I really wish they would one day. I didn't have a Wi-Fi connection at the time, so I didn't get to play any of the downloadable content, and I hope one day I will get back to go back and do that. But another great game. Up next, we have Final Fantasy IX. Now, once again, the most popular one would probably be 7, because this was the first game that came from Super, they roll on the low-bit Super Nintendo things. This was the first next-gen Final Fantasy right on PlayStation, and I remember being in awe when I saw the graphics of it at the time. It was like, oh my god. It was the first thing. You actually had more human-like characters. You had more mature themes, more mature storyline. You had great, rememberable characters who have become a part of pop culture. You had Sephiroth, Cloud, the girl that died that everybody cried, I think her name was Ares maybe, and Barrett, and just all those great characters. But my favorite is 9, and let me give you the reason. And I totally understand why 7 is the most popular, but 9 is my favorite because I thought it went back a little more traditional. It was a little more, the characters were a little more comical, a little more whimsical, it was a little more cartoonish, and it kind of went away from the totally mature theme and went more toward magic and these faraway lands, mystical creatures, and I love the dude in the armor on there. Steiner, I believe his real name was. I always named him Chris after me. I always clink, 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 clink. But that's my favorite of the series, like I said, because it just kind of pays tribute to the older games to me. But that's just my personal preference. I know everybody's got their own tastes. Up next, Silent Hill Homecoming. I've heard some people say they really didn't like this game because it wasn't really Silent Hill, but I've always loved it. I think it was fairly good in the eyes of people. It doesn't actually take place in Silent Hill until the very end of it. It's in a place I believe called Shepherd's Glen. It's about the story of okay, I've forgotten his name. Like I said, it's been a while since I played some of these games. Anyway, his brother's missing, and he's going through trying to find his brother, and eventually he ends up in Silent Hill. And I love this game. It's another one I played to death. It had a great atmosphere to me. It did feel like Silent Hill to me. Great atmosphere, ominous characters, and I actually got full 1,000 points on this game. I think it's the only game that I totally completed every accomplishment on. And it was actually the reason I bought an Xbox 360. I bought an Xbox 360 just to play this game. And that's why it's just still one of my all-time favorites. Up next, we have the two games which are probably tied for my all-time favorites. No, first, we'll talk about Silent Hill, the original one. Once again, we're seeing a pattern here. Most people like another one. My favorite is another one. I think the most popular one is 2. Everybody likes part 2 because they thought it was really creepy, and they loved the story, and I think it was because it introduced the main antagonist of the series, Pyramid Head, and that giant sword thing. But the original will always be near and dear to my heart because I still remember sitting at home playing in the playing when it was dark outside, hearing the ominous music with those creepy nurses coming at you in the hospital, and all the sound effects, and just like being, oh, mommy. And it's one of the only games that ever really scare and disturb me, and that's why it's always been. I love the story, I love the movie, and just this game will always hold a special place in my heart. Next, we're going to talk about totally different category. This is another RPG game. It's one I don't know if you've heard of or not, but it's called Lunar, the Silver Star Story. This game is just absolutely perfect in every way to me personally. You had an incredible story, great gameplay, the characters that you just loved and fell in love with, and not to mention the cutscenes that were totally animated. I mean, it was like you were playing a cartoon, and it was just incredible. It is still, to this day, it even had musical numbers, and to this day, it is still probably my all-time favorite video game. And it also had a sequel, Lunar 2. Not quite as good as the first one, but still a very great game. And that, like I said, the characters were just incredible to me. I love the story about the Dragon Master. You had the villain Galleon, who was a great villain. And everything about it was just absolutely perfect to me. Sorry. Well, this is a list of my favorite video games. So, if you want to, feel free to leave some of yours in the comments. Tell me what some of your favorites are, and how you feel, maybe how you feel about some of the games I mentioned. You may not like my list. This is just my own personal list. I doubt if you asked 10 people what their top 10 favorite video games are, I doubt any of the 10 would have the same games on them. But it's just been another edition of my YouTube channel. Feel free to like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll keep you updated on more book reviews and my books and everything about that. So I guess that'll do it for this video, and like I always say, happy reading.